What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're back once again with career mode, this time for the British Grand Prix. Check out the last episode if you haven't already. At the end of the last one, we bought some downforce upgrades, and that's the first upgrades that we bought for the car in a very long time, and they are in fact going to make it onto the vehicle. Vehicle? Am I American or what? Either way, they're going to make it onto the car for the start of this British Grand Prix, and this is the first upgrade that's actually been applied to the car in 7 races or so now. So, really looking forward to this British Grand Prix now, seeing what kind of impact these downforce upgrades can make. It's definitely our weakest component of the car now, so at a heavy downforce track like this place, I'm really looking forward to hopefully being a bit more competitive.
It's a Saturday afternoon here at Silverstone, and that means it's time for today's qualifying. Enjoy the action.
Thanks for that, Crofty. We're not wasting any more time here. We are jumping straight into qualifying here, where hopefully we can buck a little bit of a trend that has been happening as of late. We haven't been making it out of qualifying 1, and that has been due to the kind of lack of updates we've been making towards this car. But now that we've finally made some gains behind the scenes, it should make things a little bit easier for us. Surprisingly, with the setup as well this weekend, having to run really low downforce because the sheer amount of downforce that these 2017 cars produce means that a lot of these corners around here in Silverstone aren't really corners anymore, and you can take a lot of these corners pretty much flat out, like turn 1, going through Cops, Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel is all just about flat apart from the last bit. So yeah, we're having to run really low downforce, but at this stage pace isn't there. We're pretty much last of the runners who have set a time so far. We're still waiting on the the Haas's and the Saubers of the world to set their time, so hopefully they can emerge behind us. But yeah, at this stage we're looking a little bit, I don't know, edgy once again in terms of making it out of this session, which is a little bit frustrating. You can see by my driving, I have been driving really well in this session, and I've been, getting the most out of the car. I am 3/10 in front of Fernando Alonso on 110 difficulty, so there's not much more you can do than that by, outperforming your teammate. But I really don't know, as we head into the final 3 minutes of this session, how much more time I can eke out, because the first 2 laps, especially the second lap, was really good. So we'll go out again and see what we can do, but I'm not promising any miracles here. Maybe 1 or 2 tenths tops, so we might just about scrape in, but it's going to take a really good lap with some track evolution as well. But 5 seconds to go in the session. This will be our last lap. Kind of good in a way as well that we're actually able to do our final run in qualifying. I have stuffed up my timing a lot as of late through Cops. Absolutely flow it through there really nicely. It's completely flat out this year, even with 3-4 wings, which I'm running. No, it's 4-5 wings I'm running at the moment. But we go through here. They're very fast, high-speed S's, really nice and flowing through there, especially with the 2017 cars. Open the DRS, and we're half a tenth down. So, we're pretty close to the mark. We've been absolutely nailing the lap so far, but not quite as good as the previous lap, which is a little bit unfortunate. Again, just fading to 0.07 of a second down as we go through the club section. Probably could go through here a little bit better, which I think we managed to do. A really nice exit there through the final couple of corners, and we do improve by about a tenth there at the end of the session, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. It is 17th place for the British Grand Prix, but crucially in front of our teammate Fernando Alonso once again, just clear by a tenth and a half. So, I mean, again, we've out-qualified Fernando. We've done essentially what we needed to do. It's just a shame that we couldn't find more of a gain from the car than that. We seem to be a little bit slow in qualifying as of late, which is really puzzling, and I was really confused this weekend as a whole, like where we were lacking pace, because we were going flat out through the corners. I was running low downforce, and the straight line speed is really good too, so I just don't understand how we were slow. It just must be that the other teams have so much more downforce, and they could run even lower wings than us. But yeah, a little bit puzzling. We'll definitely need to work on the downforce with this car. That is 100% where we're lacking. But it's time for the race now for the British Grand Prix. I know we're more competitive than 17th place, so let's bag some more points.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Kimi Räikkönen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo, and Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Ocon, Massa, and Daniel Kvyat. Perez, Stroll, Romain Grosjean and Magnussen, Palmer and a McLaren, Fernando Alonso and Pascal Wehrlein, Ericsson and Carlos Sainz starts from the back of the grid.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Thanks for that, Jeff, and welcome to the British Grand Prix, guys. We are on the grid now, 17th place. Pretty frustrating to start so low down in the order, given that we are in Season 2 now. You know, I was hoping to make a little bit more progress in the field, but when we go, you know, so many races without upgrading the car, yes, we made an upgrade earlier this episode, but yeah, we need to do better. But to be fair, though, we have been sacrificing this middle part of this season in order for, you know, much bigger things to come later on, like the ultimate engine upgrade, and I really pray that that's the saving grace for us this season, and it can really propel us towards the top of the midfield where we really ought to be by now. But we're getting ready for this start. We're doing a one-stop. I hope that the guys in front of us as well are doing the two-stop, and that would really get us in the game for this Grand Prix. But hopefully we can get off to a nice start. Low revs for this one. I have been listening to your comments, and I did take that on board. Lean revs as well. But again, you know, the starts are really quite you know, variable there. But we go round the outside of many cars through turn 1. I think there was someone who was spinning off on the infield, and it caused everyone to check up there, and I was completely unsighted to that and just went flat out round the outside, and we now find ourselves in 9th place for this British Grand Prix on fresh tyres. Everyone else around us now will either be on harder compounded tyres, or they're going to be on the used ones that they started on with qualifying. But yeah, here we go through the first corner. We go round the outside of everyone. That is a Red Bull that you can see there. I believe got tangled up with one of the Renaults or the Force India there, just up the road. So that was the best angle I could get of that you know, incident. Unfortunately, in post-production, I didn't, you know, actually focus on the onboard of Verstappen, I think it was, who went back down the order. So yeah, interesting not to have a safety car or a virtual safety car from that. Often when there's a first corner collision, those kind of things are quite sensitive to triggering those kind of incidents. But meanwhile, we can see Hulkenberg battling away with Massa, I believe it is. He just concedes the spot to Massa, and now it looks like the Renault driver might be on the way back down the order. So hopefully we can make some progress towards him, get within DRS, and tag on to the back of that little battle there. But as you can see on the mini-map, there's quite a bit of a gap that's starting to emerge between us and Grosjean. Grosjean actually recently overtook Sainz, I think it was, and he's now storming his way back towards me. So for the first, you know, 5 laps, I was running all by myself, and it was all, you know, pretty smooth sailing. But now Grosjean turns the wick up into rich revs and flies right past us with the help of DRS. So yeah, you can see following on board with Grosjean, we get a little bit, you know, tail happy on the exit of. Oh no, I'm doing it again. I completely forget the name of that corner. I'll remember it at some point during this commentary, but for now, the name just completely eludes me. I should have like a track map that's on the other screen of my computer, so I just know all the corner names. This happens every time I come to this racetrack. Yellow flags through turn 1. This is Hulkenberg, who was having issues earlier on in the race. He's now having more. I think he had a puncture there, as well as a spin going through turn 1. So very unfortunate there for Hulk. We also had Kimi Raikkonen just make his pit stop at the exact same time, emerge right behind me, and now he's trapped due to the virtual safety car, has to stick to the Delta and won't be able to overtake me. So it's 5th place for the moment. A lot of the leaders making their stops, and as soon as we go back to green flag racing, we'll go back on the attack with Danny Kvyat. You can see there, I went way wide, way wide, and you saw me like weave the steering wheel. I wasn't trying to gain an advantage or anything like that. It was simply the dirty air that I was, you know, following behind Kvyat. I couldn't believe the amount of front end grip that we lost, just washed away because we were stuck behind the rear wing of the Toro Rosso. You'll see it at other points during this Grand Prix as well, and it's only something I've noticed recently, that the dirty air, it might have even been patched or, you know, put into an update, but it's definitely really noticeable now, especially in this McLaren where the downforce upgrades, you know, haven't been coming in thick and fast, and that's, you know, again, an element where we're really lacking. But again, yellow flags here on lap 9. That is Hulkenberg still limping his way back to the pits, and I believe the guys behind me got caught up by that. Carlos Sainz deciding to adhere to the yellow flags a little bit too literally there by not overtaking Hulkenberg. His teammate flies around the outside, and Hulk eventually limps his way back into the pit lane, which is what we're doing now as well, going onto the soft compound tyres for the end of the race. Or is it the mediums? No, I believe it might be the mediums, because the softs won't make it to the end. So we're going to do 16 laps on this stint, hopefully make it to the end. We got held up by the Toro Rosso there of Carlos Sainz, but in the end we emerge in front of all those guys in that battle there. So pretty crucial for us. So overall in this race, we lose a spot to Danny Kvyat, who stopped a couple of laps ago, so it's going to be down to us to try and chase him down in the next few laps. We have another yellow flag up ahead. Is this possibly Hulkenberg, who is really struggling today? It could well be, but I don't believe it was. It's actually Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon, way off in the gravel trap there. I have honestly no idea how they've managed to get that far deep into the gravel trap, but, you know, there's a first. Alonso is just having a shocking season, and it just continues after the summer break, which is really frustrating. No, summer break's not happened yet. It's after this race, but you can see there on the track, the racing line is just covered in dirt, left by both Alonso and Esteban Ocon. I made an effort not to kind of drive in the wheel tracks of that dirt there, but after a few laps it did thankfully clear, which is actually a nice touch. Good to see that there is a little bit of, I don't know, that, you know, realism with you know, the dirt being thrown up by someone going off in the gravel. You don't see it all too often, people going off in the gravel, but good to see that, yeah, there is a little bit of added realism when it comes to debris and stuff getting on the track. But meanwhile, lap 14, we have Kevin Magnussen flying around the outside into Brooklands, I think it is, and yeah, we're gonna have to leave him the inside here to the outside. We're in 4th gear, really understeery corner through there. I never feel like I nail it, particularly in this car with the medium tyres. I must be said as well, I don't feel as confident on the mediums, but I'm doing my best to just really soldier on here. And now with Magnussen in front of us, hopefully we can stay with him in the DRS and maybe pull away from Carlos Sainz, or just use Magnussen possibly as a way of defending from Carlos Sainz due to, you know, the slipstream and higher top end speed. But unfortunately, we may lose DRS after this lap, especially with Sainz looking to be a little bit aggressive and attacking us quite a bit in this middle sector of the track. It's a real struggle here, really trying to battle to hold on to points here, where, you know, just doing enough to keep him behind. It's just a shame that we are probably lacking a little bit of straight line speed. You know, if we had maybe 5 brake horsepower more, we might, oh, that's close, through turn 1. That is honestly as close as you want to get before you make contact. Maybe we did brush my right rear up against his left front main plane, but yeah, that is incredibly tight. Yeah, if we just had a slight bit more straight line speed, whether that be extra horsepower or maybe less drag, then we'd be, you know, not as involved in some of these awkward situations, contesting side by side into corners. But hey, it makes for more exciting racing, it allows for more battling to happen, and overall gives us more content to watch in these career mode episodes, which, you know, I guess I can't really complain about. But yeah, we got 9 laps to go. I'm doing my best to hold on here. We got Grosjean now right behind us, who recently came out of the pits, and he is going to be mega quick on those soft compound tyres. So we'll see what we can do up against Sainz. He doesn't have DRS, but we do, and that allowed us to kind of fend off Grosjean for that lap. But I'm honestly not too sure how long we can keep this up for. As long as we can stay in the slipstream of Sainz, we should be able to keep Grosjean at bay, so long as we don't make any, you know, major mistakes into like overtaking zones. But you can see here on lap 18, Sainz going a little bit slowly. I don't believe he's running in rich fuel mixture, and we make complete use of that and fly past him into, again, I still haven't remembered the name, Stowe. That's it. It's Stowe Corner. Finally, my brain has actually started to work. But yeah, I mean, look at the train that we've merged over the last few laps, just desperately trying to hold on. That's Grosjean going up the inside of Sainz. Hasn't worked out though, as they've made side-to-side contact through turn 1, and Grosjean is the massive loser out of that. He goes to the inside, and they just lock wheels a little bit, and that was all it took for Grosjean to go spinning at about 300 kilometers an hour, and that is his, you know, chances of this race getting points pretty much over now. But 6 laps to go. Sainz now retakes, I think it's 9th place, and If anything, I feel a little bit more comfortable with Sainz behind me as opposed to Grosjean. Grosjean had much better straight line speed, he had the better tyres as well, and overall he had the much more dangerous package towards us. But behind Sainz, you can see us battling away. I'm not really focused on that, in all honesty. I'm focused on the guys behind. We've got Massa, we've got freaking Max Verstappen, Nico Hulk, no, that's Jolyon Palmer, and at the back of the queue we have Sergio Perez as well. So a lot of quick drivers in there with a lot of pace ready to unleash in these dying laps of this British Grand Prix. Massa as well on the soft compound tyres as well. So yeah, he's definitely one guy we don't want to be, you know, directly coming up against. If anything, I want the guys behind to you know, challenge him. But now we find Verstappen getting to the head of the queue now as well. Massa flies right past us in the Mercedes-powered Williams. We'll try and follow him through cops, but again, the dirty air just sends me so far wide, it's a joke. In clear air, you can go through there flat out in 8th gear, but with a car planted right in front of you, you have to shift down to 7th and lift quite a bit. But you can see, again, there's Verstappen going up there inside. It was very, very tight through the very fast S section. We came dangerously close to making contact a whole numerous amount of times, and now we go around the outside into Stowe. Doesn't quite work out though, there's a bit of contact, and in all honesty that was completely my fault, and really just frustrated myself that I allowed that to happen. We'll have a replay here as we draw alongside Max Verstappen. I don't know why I went to the outside there. Completely wrong move. There was so much space on the inside. I just wanted to have the outside because I knew at the following corner we'd have the inside for the club section and Vale. So yeah, I was desperate to be on that side of the track, and I just turned in way too early and we made contact with Max. Thankfully enough though, neither of us have damage. Just a miracle in a way that we got away without chipping our front wing once again on simulation damage. But again, here comes Max. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets us around the outside. We had a massive tank slapper, and again, Max doesn't have a great exit there. We had to almost avoid him as we go through this back straight. It's side by side. I have the inside, but I'm not too confident. There's a Toro Rosso on my outside as well. What is going on here? Kvyat overtakes me off the track. No, Sainz. But either way, that is absolutely mad scenes here in this British Grand Prix. We're getting overtaken left, right, and centre. The racing has been top class, it must be said, but just not for the positions that we want to be, you know, taking away in this Grand Prix. It's 11th place now, and I can only see us sliding further down the order unless the guys ahead can get involved in a battle, which they are. Sainz to the inside through Stowe. Come on, give me a bit of a squeeze and give me half a chance to get back involved in this battle. We are closing in on Sainz, so we're going to go for a little bit of a lunge here into the club section, round the outside, through the penultimate corner. And I think on traction we've actually got him. A slight oversteer moment, but we were really early on the power and really helped us around the outside there. Our car is good in terms of chassis. That's one thing we do have over the likes of the Toro Rosso and everyone else in the midfield. It's just the aero and just a slight smidgen in terms of straight line speed. But yeah, when we get it right, we get it right, especially through those technical corners. That's why we're so strong at, you know, the likes of Monaco and possibly Singapore, which I'm hoping for later on in the season. But meanwhile, this is Lewis Hamilton coming around the final corner to lap Carlos Sainz just corners from the end, and that means that we're essentially guaranteed 10th place in this British Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton wins the Grand Prix, but for us though, we're on the last lap, and no one else can really challenge us. Lewis is doing fist bumps as he's going flat out in 8th gear on the back straight there. But yeah, this was the cruisiest final lap I've ever had in a career mode race, and I just brought it home to the finish. No one could overtake me. I decided to cool things off early, bring it into the pit lane, and there we go. That is 10th place and one singular point. I'll take it.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
So Lewis Hamilton then wins his home race for the British Grand Prix. In the end makes it a Mercedes 1-2 as well, with Vettel completing the podium as well. For us, yeah, we did our absolute best, you know, coming back through the field with a one-stop. Oh, we took a few cars there, had some absolutely cracking battles with Carlos Sainz especially, defending against the likes of Felipe Massa, Kevin Magnussen, so many guys in that order there, but unfortunately just didn't have the pace. Again, this track really doesn't suit the characteristics of this McLaren Honda. Just really down on that crucial downforce, which we mostly need to work on in the upcoming races. But yeah, just 1 point for the championship. Alonso himself had a pretty terrible race himself, getting, I don't know, involved with one of the Force Indias and spending about half a minute in the gravel trap. Definitely doesn't help us in the constructors, which we are, kind of bleeding points to the other rival teams. Williams only 2 points away. Force India 2 points away. 3 teams there, all stuck on 52 points. Williams, Force India, Toro Rosso. That is so close in the midfield there. That is actually quite crazy. So in the next race, we really, really need some solid points. Otherwise, we could find ourselves dropping to 7th in the constructors, which is, definitely not what we need. But as you can see here, we're in the agents room, and it looks like we might potentially get some offers to join some rival teams.
Hey, quick question. How are you here? Are you happy? I mean, obviously, I hope so, but you do have some other options if you're up for a new challenge. Let me just grab the door. I had a call from another team a few weeks ago, and, well, things have moved on since then. These are the offers I've managed to put together for you. You don't have to do anything with them, but let me know what you think.
Well, well, well. Would you look at that? We have some offers from Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. The top 3 teams, I was actually not really expecting that. I was expecting some offers from like Williams, Force India kind of level. But man, that is really, really tempting. Given the last few races that we've had, they've been very testing. We've only been fighting for fringe points, but I think I'm going to stay with McLaren Honda in all honesty. I can hear the boos and the dislikes coming in aplenty in this video, but hear me out. I want to give this a proper go. I want to see what the ultimate upgrade does to the car in terms of the engine upgrade. We still have some updates coming from Codemasters in terms of the car performance, which I think might give McLaren Honda a little bit of a buff. So yeah, once all these things come into consideration, plus the Season 2 boost at the end of the season as well, apply some major upgrades in downforce and in chassis. After then, Season 3, we'll make a decision as to whether we want to switch teams. But at this stage, I feel like it's still a little bit too early. We've signed for McLaren Honda to stay on as their first driver, and immediately after that, we were kind of rewarded for our loyalty. We got given a go in Ayrton Senna's NP4-6, I believe it was, and we passed the challenge. I know I haven't covered a lot of these events off in the background, mainly because they've been a little bit boring in all honesty. If I have a race, which we don't often get in these invitational events, then I might show that, but for the most part, it's just been time trial stuff, and, you guys don't really want to see that. It's not the most enthralling stuff to watch, in all honesty. But after that event, we unlocked one of the core competencies for upgrade speed, so major upgrades will take only half the time, 2 weeks. And as well, when we move to the next race, we got a sponsor bonus as well. So again, probably another reward from McLaren for being so loyal to the team. That is definitely going to help us. We now have 1,300 resource points to spend, which we are going to chuck onto the rear downforce. And as well with that, we still have 500 points, which we are going to chuck on some durability in the way of the ICE, so the internal combustion engine. So yeah, some pretty sizable upgrades will be heading our way then for the Belgian Grand Prix. We have the ultimate engine upgrade in the way of the turbo. We have rear downforce, and we have a durability upgrade. 3 upgrades, pretty sizable ones, heading our way for the next round. And this is why I wanted to stay on with the team, to see what kind of impact these upgrades would have. Because I think for sure we're going to have a massive, massive boost. And who knows, we might even be in the realms of challenging Red Bull. Even though we don't look like it on paper, we've been doing a lot of upgrades that just boost, straight up performance. So I'm, kind of hoping to be at that kind of level, challenging those guys at least, the likes of Force India, Williams, on a regular basis. So fingers crossed that works, and we can have some much more eventful races in the second half of the season. But guys, that has been this episode for today, the British Grand Prix. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2017 videos. so awesome to kind of get rewarded for our loyalty by McLaren. Hopefully we can do them justice in the next few races. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.